Are you ready?
Okay, guys, let's talk Sin City here. Man, where to start? This is a lot to talk about. This here is the recut, extended, unrated version of Frank Miller's Sin City. This is the movie, but what's kind of cool is inside this little DVD set is the freaking graphic novel. That's right, baby. I love it. This is like the full graphic novel. Now, I've had The Hard Goodbye. I had like 3 different versions of it. I had the normal comic book size. Then they made some like manga sized. Dark Horse did. It came out in a lot of versions. But this is the latest that I got because I got this on eBay for like $4. And I'm like, I get the graphic novel plus the DVD. Now, the movie wasn't that bad, actually. And I'm really curious because this one has... It has the 15-minute film school with Robert Rodriguez, 14 minutes of Tarantino, cooking school. There's a lot of the commentary. There's commentary with Frank Miller, which I definitely want to listen to. Then there's one with Tarantino. Then there's one with audience reaction. So a lot of fun stuff to enjoy the movie with. And I'm excited to kind of like dive into that. I probably will do that maybe today. But let's talk about the comic. And this comic actually meant a lot to me at the time because I was newly married and I was just getting back into comics. So what got me back into comics was actually Kingdom Come. Kingdom Come was such an amazing book at the time for me. I had been away from comics for a couple years. When I saw Alex Ross's work that was fully painted, it just blew my socks away. And it changed everything for me about comics. When that happened, I was like, okay, I'm back into comics. Once that happened over a couple years, and I got married, and I started going to comic shops, and then I saw these Sin Cities. Originally, these were single issues that were in Dark Horse Presents. And then they were collected in these things, and I got these, and I actually asked these for Christmas. So my ex-mother-in-law bought me like the Yellow Bastard and the Hard Kill or Big Fat One or something like that. And she probably thumbed through it and saw the titties and stuff. Was like, oh my gosh, what is this I'm doing? But I gotta say, this changed the game in some ways. Now, Miller before this, of course, had done Ronin. He'd done Dark Knight Returns, which was the big thing that probably allowed him to buy mansions in Malibu or whatever. And he had done, of course, the Daredevil stuff and the Elektra stuff. So he had been doing some amazing comic book work. But this is when he really said, I'm doing my own thing. I don't care who's publishing it at the moment, although he might have had an agreement with Dark Horse since the beginning. He wanted to do it his own way. Now, like Ronin, these originals are massive. I believe they're 13 by 19. So they're big ass pages, okay? Just like over there, my Ronin artist edition is massive. I think he did the same thing for this. So when you look at this, miniaturized, right? It's super cute. It's really great. You could think of him like, using a brush, right? So if I get my Winsor Newton, actually that's here's my, what is this? That's a 4. Never mind. So, I use my little sable brush 1. You're like, okay, maybe he's sitting here going here. No, dude, he is not using a 1. He's using a big honking 4 or bigger, He's using big brushes because this thing is massive. So I always think about that as far as like reproduction and sizes and how that changes the way you do things. So huge book, very impactful. A lot of people have read it. Everyone loves it. Different style. He's using a lot of European styles like Torpedo. He's using Bennett. A lot of different things. Munoz as well. Jose Munoz, which is another guy, Italian artist that, I think Italian, maybe Spanish. Apologize. Let me know. Keith Giffen looked at Munoz a lot too when he was doing like Ambush Bug and things like that. So, getting influenced by the world around him and these different artists. So let's just talk about this a bit. If you guys haven't read this, can you go get this and read this? Because I feel like I'm going to spoil this, and this is one of those things you got to read, okay? Let's just talk about this image. Dialed down to the most minimal things he can do, but using a very expressive brush. He is using this, he's like going in there and really like playing with the width of that line. Do you know what I mean? He's like, okay, like for instance, he's breaking down this into really expressive lines. Now he could have used rapidograph for those bandages. He could have done a lot of different things, but he decided, damn, this thing is tight. What the hell? But he decided to say, you know what? I'm going to use brush. I'm going to be very expressive. I'm not going to ink it the way Terry Austin would or Al Gordon would or any of that kind of stuff. I'm going to go into this and really be creative, artistic, and really give it a different look. Now remember, he's been working with like Sienkiewicz and people who do this. He studied Topi and that kind of stuff. So when he's doing a line, he's not doing this nice, clean, like, he's really going into this with some, really fun widths here, right? And he's really kind of like playing with this, and he's just really being expressive and really like laying it on and just like making it gloppy and kind of like playing with it. And I think that really shows in this kind of like level of line variation, really gives it some kind of like an artistic quality to it. You know what I mean? It's not perfectly, there's not a bunch of hatches here and everything. He's really kind of like playing with these lines and the widths and the styles, and he might have even like drew this with a very kind of a loose style. I don't know, anyway, sorry, a little tangent there. I thought that'd be kind of fun to show you. So he's doing something different than what Americans have seen, okay? That's important to note, okay? Europeans have seen this already. He's bringing it to us, okay? Us, I mean Americans. Me being American. Okay. You, though, of course, could be from somewhere else. Okay. So, we get in here for Lynn. Aww. His wife at the time. They're divorced now, but Lynn Varley colored a lot of his books around this time. Dark Knight Returns, of course, 300, many other things. They have now separated, so there might not be too many for Lynn's in the future books. Okay. Compositionally speaking, and negative space is what he is all about in this series. This is the first story of about, I think, 7 or so different Sin City books. They all are noir, hard-boiled, 50s style stories that are, gritty, tough guys, beautiful babes, that kind of like genre, fancy cars. That's his world. So we're not going to give that any sort of like value judgment. That's just the genre. Okay? That's what this is about. So get to know that. Negative space. I love that he's combining these shapes. This is wonderful here. We don't even see the silhouette of the thighs. We don't need to see it. Our eye can figure it out. Again, with the neck, we do not see the chin. We don't need to. We can figure it out. Just some really great stuff here. Again, showing emotion does a lot of big hands, a big hand type of guy. And I'll be honest, some of these earlier is a little rougher than his later work in Sin City. I think some of the later Sin City stories, the work is even better. I think here there's a couple little like elements that you're like, the anatomy's a little goofy here maybe, and blah, blah, blah. You know, some of the folding of the thing is not the best. But let me tell you, dude, it's great. The silhouettes is wonderful. His like blinds he always puts in here, the drapery, grabbing the titty, all this kind of stuff is great. The love bed. The story is basically this down and out, ugly, brute type of guy, thug type guy, has sex with the most beautiful woman that he's always wanted and loved, and something happens. She's dead in the bed, and he can't figure out what happened. His memory's not with him. He doesn't know what the hell happened, but he knows she's dead. And he's a macho pig, he calls himself. I do like when he breaks down these little panels, and he'll break down the images. Like, that's a great image right there. That one too, that eye. But see how the lines there? He's just really kind of like using that brush and just, really quick. And again, when he's working so big, you have that ability to kind of do that. And if you go back, look at my video on Ronin, he uses a lot of whiteout too. So don't think that he pulled this off on one brush. He could have very well have like effed up this brow 5 times and just whited it out and kept going and going. So it's not necessarily like a one-shot quick, gesture. He probably worked on it a couple times. That's a nice little sound effect. I like that. The E's coming in together. But look at this. Look at how this wasn't done in the States, guys. This is like really good. Yeah, really, really cool. Great movement, great composition here of this. These guys moving up. And now he's ready to rock and roll. He took some pills. Who knows what those, some kind of uppers. And now look at this. This is just great. Just bashing in. And I do love the body positioning he puts on things. This is a great shot of the side of the jeans, these kind of pants he's wearing with those folds. I do like the limp bodies that he would do like that. That's hard to do. I have a hard time doing that. It's really cool. Because we're working with such high contrast stuff, you really do have to kind of boil things down into these basic shapes. And then you have things like this, which we see this in Dark Knight, of course. Again, some of these just, I don't know. There's a couple that I'm just not super keen on panels, but I'm not going to start talking shit. I mean, this is great. I love those hands. He's great at these hands. Just like, boom. Just blast through the freaking windshield. It's just a monstrosity. And the cops are always like flak vested out with like big deal. Well, that's because they're look at this. All black silhouette. This is a book about silhouettes. That's what this is all about, dude. And the trench coat's clearly a cape. I mean, it's just a way for him to draw a cape, which in a way is easy. It's awesome, it's dynamic, it's fun, and you don't have to draw legs. Look at these. Look at this super high contrast like images of buildings. This was fun. I always like this when you do the shadow as a texture. And this was the first time I saw this. I'm positive it was done before this. Maybe even Toth would have done it, but I really like that. And then here's not Ava. What's her name? Claire. No, is it Claire? Maybe not Claire. Claire might have been the girlfriend. Oh, Lucille. Claire was a girlfriend. She's a dyke. Yeah, I just love the bandages all over him. Look at this. Isn't that just a great idea? Like, oh, I'll have him in a silhouette, but then I'll put all these like band-aids all over his body. And look how evocative that is and how just like interesting that is. Another silhouette. So, I mean, we could spend here a full freaking hour going through this, and maybe you want to. So, if you want me to do a part 2, I'll do a part 2. You tell me, and I'll go through every freaking page. But you could also just buy the book and look at it yourself. There is although some good line work, though, too. I don't want to just say it's all about shapes. He does do some fun line work. Again, it does have this almost sketched out kind of like appearance at times, although that looks really rendered. I bet that was this is Jeff Darrow. Wasn't it Jeff Darrow? I want to say Kevin is Jeff Darrow. That sounds familiar. I love this stuff. Again, great positioning. He gets captured, of course. He's at the government's at the local, like, not government, but the local, like, law enforcement's after him. The rain effects is also important. This was a new thing for me, just to see this, like, rain effects, which hadn't been done before. And you know, comic page like this is a lot of text, and he just puts this here for the image for the whole page. You didn't see that kind of stuff in comics. And then there'd be pages and pages with no dialogue. These were great panels too. Here. Yeah, this is where they're gonna go plan the comeback. Look at this. Look at the detail there. You'll see this stuff, and then you'll look at, like, this inspired so many things. Is it Dead Spot or Death Wish or Dead Spot? What's the Jim Lee book that he did that had this kind of look to it? Jim Lee kind of aped this. I want to say it's like Dead Spot. I don't know, something like that. This, again, I'm going to say it one more time. So good, so fresh at the time. It might feel a little dated now, to be honest, because so much has come from it. But I think it's definitely something that needs to be seen. Yeah. Look at that. And then he uses, like, his fingerprints. He started really getting, like, abstract here, which was fun. There's an image here that's really good. He's all linked up to it. Where is it? Oh, I can't find it. Oh, there it is. This one. 92. This is here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there were 7 stories, and there's, like, the art of it. This is a great book. I think it's worth reading. And I don't know if it needs to be this small, actually. I mean, this is cute because it was, again, $4, but you might want a bigger one if you can find the bigger versions. Maybe. I don't know. It's a tough one. Great book. Needs to be seen, needs to be read, and that's my take on Sin City. So, quick flippy dip. Thank you guys so much for watching my channel. I appreciate it. Hey, go check out the Ronin one I did, because I think that one is cool too, and you might, like, dig the artist edition of Ronin. I really go into that whole freaking book. It's like 4 parts, which is fun. So do the subscription button, all that kind of jazz. Check out the Patreon. Have fun. Have a great day, and talk to you guys later. Bye.
Hey guys, a little appendix here. So I watched the Sin City movie twice this weekend. I watched it once, just straight normal, and then I watched it again right after that with commentary with Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller. And I hadn't seen it years, probably when it first came out. And I have to say, I think it's really good still. I think this is the first one. I think there was a second, and then I think there's actually a movie, The Spirit, that Frank made, which I heard panned out, but I never saw it. I think this first one's actually pretty good. It's extremely faithful, to the book. It was good. I thought it was really cool, innovative as far as, like, some of this green screen techniques and really, like, bridging that gap between comics and film. And it's, in many moments, it has got that kind of motion comic almost. feel to it, and I thought that was very cool, very innovative. So big fan of that, and it was kind of neat to listen to the commentary and learn a little bit about Frank and his desire. I guess originally he made these books to be kind of unfilmable, kind of something we've heard like Alan Moore say that too with some of his work. But and then I guess Robert was a big fan and got a hold of him, and then they decided. And Robert just kind of pitched this whole thing and like made test screening and came up with a cast and did all this work. He really was like Jones for it, and I guess that's kind of what got Frank really excited about it, about the project. You can tell that Frank is excited. He learned a lot about directing and he enjoyed it, and he wants to do more. And it kind of like awakened a lot of those creative juices that he's been doing for comics, doing more film work. Now, remember, prior to this, he had written scripts. I mean, he had been a screenwriter. I think he did RoboCop 2, and he might have did one or two more things. So he was familiar with the film world, but he never directed. So this was kind of his first time to cut his teeth on doing some directing. But I think it holds up. I actually think it holds up pretty well. Performances were good. Mickey Rourke's great in it, and so is Bruce Willis. He did a good job. So I liked it. I think it's a good companion piece. So that's a quick little 2-minute review of the movie. So thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.